everybody doing today here on Sunday, June 29th? I'm dropping my way too early 2026 mock draft over on my Swash channel. So I thought it would be fun to kind of just do a more of a sit back, kind of chill, talk about next year's class, which I'm currently doing my process, like due diligence on and kind of learning more and being more familiar about these prospects who, man, the 2026 draft on paper is better in my opinion than what we were looking at the 2025 draft last year, and definitely a lot better than the 2024 draft. Because even if you look back at that 24 class, man, like there's some good talent, but even that collegiate season, because you had like Sar, Reese Ashe, you just had like Tijon Salon, you had the Ignite guys of Holland and Buzelis. They were just like non-college guys, like college season, and that was the Final Four, right? Where we had, it was like Donovan Clingan on UConn with Stephon Castle against Zach Edey, but it just felt like that college season could have been a little bit better and was better and more talented in 2025. So I'm super excited for 2026. The NBA offseason is already off to a very interesting start with LeBron James opting in, the Malik Beasley stuff going down where he's getting investigated for gambling, which is kind of insane when you think about it, because apparently he had a 3-year, $42 million contract on the table with the Detroit Pistons, and now that's on pause. So did he just fumble himself a lot of money? And like, it would really suck if this investigation goes on past free agency. And I know they would obtain his bird rights and they could probably still give him that contract later on if he's proven innocent, but you never know. What if Detroit is like, all right, we signed Gary Trent Jr. or we signed other guys. We don't really want to give you 3 years, $42 million. So I don't know if this investigation is going to cost Malik Beasley a lot of money if he's innocent, but if he's guilty, I mean, he's banned for the league, and this is one of the bigger fumbles in NBA history. Like Jonte Porter, obviously that was a disaster when it happened, but he was playing under like the league minimum. Beasley made $6 million last year. He's made a decent amount in his career, and he was set to get a nice payday after a really great season with the Pistons last year. So we're gonna learn more about it. It's kind of being investigated by the U.S. District Attorney's Office, which pretty major deal, right? So back to the 26th draft, probably. I don't know how much 26 draft content you'll get over the summer, but maybe you'll kind of get some summer scouting stuff with the FIBA Under 19 World Cups going on. You guys, I'm going to hope, are going to see this like early Sunday, but either way, the United States plays France today. A lot of notable names playing for Team USA with like AJ Debansa is out there. Koa Pete is out there. I believe Chris Sinak's out there, but I'm just going to pull that up while I'm talking about this class, but it's gonna be a really fun one. But honestly, I actually kind of just want to see who is playing for like yesterday, because it was somebody I really didn't know much about. Morez Johnson at Michigan. He had like a really good game. You have Daniel Jacobson, the Giant at Purdue's on that team. Tyron Stokes, the number 1 overall recruit for the next year's class, is playing in that game. But guys that we'll talk about here today: AJ Debansa, Koa Pete, not Chris Sinak. Those are like the 2 notable guys. As well. And Brandon McCoy, who's going to be next year's class. Nicolas. I don't know how to pronounce his last name yet, so I'm not going to say it, but he's the incoming Duke guy. So let's just kind of start talking about this class in general. And obviously, it's a 3-headed monster at the top. We'll start off with Darren Peterson, who I believe right now is the best player going into next year's class. He's somebody that has incredible ball handling ability. He's basically a 1 or a 2. He played past season at Prolific Prep over in Napa Valley, California, which I believe that school is like relocating to Fort Lauderdale. He bounced around a little bit. I think he's from Ohio. I think played in West Virginia for a high school there before last year, where he balled out of Prolific Prep. And he's got the size at 6'5", 6'6". He's got a great wingspan right now. He's an incredibly explosive guard with the ball in his hands. And he's somebody that is just like, I don't know, man. He could really be a true 3-level scorer. He could truly be like an Anthony Edwards type player, Devin Booker type player. And he's much better than Devin Booker was. Like Devin Booker was a 6th man on a loaded 2015 Kentucky team. Darren Peterson is going to be the guy at Kansas, and probably the best Kansas like incoming high school recruit. I mean, you had Cliff Alexander, Thomas Robinson back in the day. There's probably been somebody since, just off the top of my head. Those guys were like notable guys, but honestly, like as like a number 1 or a fringe number 1 guy, he's probably the best recruit they've had since Andrew Wiggins back in that 2014 season. So Peterson is so much fun to watch right now, and I think he's only going to continue to get better and better with his playmaking, his ability to navigate or just kind of work out of the pick and roll with step back jumpers, which is kind of knowing what he's going to do two steps ahead. He knows where he's going to go each side of the floor, what move he's going to put on his opposing defender. He's got the athleticism, which allows him to also be an insanely strong, and like his athleticism shines on the defensive end of the floor. So I think he's got elite defensive potential. And he's drawing comps already to Anthony Edwards, and you could definitely see that. And this is like young Anthony Edwards, maybe a little bit of Georgia Anthony Edwards, but Peterson is by far a better recruit and a better prospect at this point of his cycle than what Anthony Edwards was when he was an incoming player going to Georgia. And I think teams like, I mean, he's going to be 18 years old this upcoming year for the Jayhawks. And he's going to be somebody that, is going to be at the top of people's draft boards. We're going to learn more and more about him. I know his dad played at Akron for a little bit, I think in the early 2000s. I actually have like my kind of notes I'm writing up about all these guys and kind of learning more about their backgrounds and where they came from. I want to get that more involved in the 26 class and definitely more internationally. We don't have too many international guys. We have two, but we're going to learn more and more about guys coming up. Like nobody really was talking about Berenger a year ago. We were talking about Zakarsky and that might have been it. Like he thought on Monza in a way, but it was really kind of Zakarsky and Traore definitely in Essengay. And that was kind of it. Maybe Ben Saraff a little bit as well. But yeah, Darren Peterson, I think is going to be the best player in this draft class, at least right now and going into this year. Now, if he's inefficient, he's struggling finishing at the rim, the shot selection is horrible. Because, hey, Bill Self in the last couple of years, it's not been kind. I mean, their transfer class last year with like Zeke Mayo, AJ Storr, Hunter Dickens, it was abysmal. Where that team that was, I think, the preseason number one, and they were terrible in March or throughout the course of the regular season. I think they won the round of 64 game, right? They were, I think, the 7-10 matchup. I think they lost. I think they lost to like Arkansas. I could be completely wrong, but hopefully this is a redemption for Bill Self this year at Kansas. And yeah, Peterson, in my opinion, is the top player in this class. I'm so excited to watch him. Next up, we have AJ Debansa that we're going to talk about. I'm not going to go in order of my rankings, but Debansa would actually be my number 3 ranked prospect. He's also going to be a fascinating guy. I think he's a little bit similar to maybe like Ace Bailey from where he was a year ago. Debansa shot really poorly in the first U19 game against Australia. He went 3 of 10 from the field, 0 of 4 from 3, 12 of 15 from the free throw line. So yeah, he definitely got his free throws in. The shot selection is going to be interesting. He filled up the stat sheet last year, but was like kind of up and down at sometimes at Utah Prep, which was more of like a hint that, okay, he's going to BYU. He got like that massive NIL deal, can get up to like $8 million. He went on ESPN to announce where he was going, turning down Blue Bloods to go to BYU, Pro U, that Ryan Hammer likes to call them, with Kevin Young over there and having Yegor Demon last year. And they're going to have Kada and Saunders playing alongside Debansa. They got Rob Wright as well. BYU is going to be a good team. They're going to be one of the top teams in the Big 12. I don't know if there's like full on rankings already for next year's season. I'd assume Houston is going to be up there. Kansas will be up there in the Big 12. But yeah, BYU is going to be up there as well. He's 6'9" right now, and that kind of plays to his advantage because of the mid-range jumper, because of the pull-up jumper. Very similar to what Ace Bailey had coming into the season last year at Rutgers. We're going to see how he looks throughout the rest of the World Cup and through the groups phase as well, which is going to start, I think, on like Wednesday. So yeah, I think most of these games as well are on YouTube. So tune in to the FIBA U19s, like so many notable names. Another like Australian prospect I'll get to after him will be playing throughout it as well. But Debansa, I mean, it's going to be a big thing for him, how locked in he's going to be defensively. Can he look to be more of a creator for his teammates, or is he going to be just flat out a score first guy? But he has the size, he's got the handle, he's got the big time shot making ability where you want in a modern day wing that can be I'm not comparing him to Kevin Durant, but like somebody that could score and fill up the stat sheet like Kevin Durant can, like Jason Tatum can. And he's probably the best wing prospect. Definitely the best like pure wing prospect in this draft, because I believe Peterson's like a guard, like a scoring guard right now. Cameron Boozer's more of an inside guy, but has a nice handle. But Debansa is definitely more of a perimeter player that's going to try to score in every different facet, behind the 3-point line with his mid-range, trying to attack the rim. And I hope to see some growth, right? I hope to see where he has been the main guy in his career and he's been hyped up for so long, and he's going to be the main guy hyped up at BYU, but it's going to be a little bit more competitive. He's going to have solid teammates that are going to look to improve their draft stock as well. So yeah, I just want to see Debansa be a team player. I want to see him be a little bit more efficient, but I think he's got all the intangibles of being a top 10 pick in the draft as well. And then before I get to Cameron Boucher, I'll talk about that other player that's playing for Team Australia in the U19s, and he had a really poor game against Team USA, but that's a really good team he's going up against. He went 0 of 7 from the field, 0 of 5 from twos, 0 of 2 from 3. And that's Dash Daniels, who is the younger brother of Dyson Daniels. And I believe Dash right now is 17 years old. He was born in 07, December of 07. So that would put him at, 17? Yeah, he's not going to be 18 until December, which is crazy. Like, seeing 2007 in front of these guys makes me feel old. I was born in 99, and then I started to feel a little bit old when I was in college, when I saw like Zion Williamson, when he was blowing up when I was a sophomore in college. And I was older than Zion. I'm like, oh my God, okay, this is weird. And now, like, I got 2 younger sisters, and these guys are like younger than my younger sisters, which is just wild to me. So Dash Daniels, 6'6", younger brother. I should have mentioned a Dyson Daniels, right? Like, that's why he's got a little bit of hype to him. Next year, playing in he's gonna be playing in Australia for the Melbourne United, right? That's how you properly say it. I don't know off the top of my head if he's part of the next gen NBL stars. They have 3 next year. So like their next stars is like basically prioritizing the development for the NBA draft for these guys. Like Zakarski was one of them last year. Alex Tui as well. Sar, Gady, LaMelo have come through the past. Okay, yeah, Dash Daniels is part of it. So you have Dash Daniels, you have Malik Lewis, who I'm not going to talk about right now, and Kareem Lopez, who I'll definitely be talking about in a little bit. But Daniels has a lot of the same attributes and tangibles as his older brother Dyson. He's a little bit bigger, and definitely bigger at his age right now than Dyson was when he was coming over to the G League Ignite. 6'6", needs to get a little bit more comfortable offensively. I'm really interested to watch him in the NBL this year. Like when I was talking about here at the top of the pod, watching more international play. Like I want to be locked in to the Melbourne United. I want to be locked in to the New Zealand Breakers, where Kareem Lopez is going to be playing on. Because, hey, there's a lot of talent in the NBL, and I'll give the NBL props too. Their like website, their interface, their ability to access these games and YouTube stuff and everything like that, it's pretty good, like compared to some of these other leagues where you're trying to look at like Eurobasket stuff, or you're trying to look at like the Jeep Elite League or the BBL over in Germany. So I appreciate the NBL, and there's going to be a lot of interesting players next year. And like Montrezl Harrell balls out in the NBL, so there's a lot. Like Taco Fall played last year with Kareem Lopez for the Breakers, and I think Daniels is going to be a really fun prospect to look. There's a chance he ends up becoming the best perimeter defender prospect in this draft. And there's a chance he's going to be a lottery pick. But if he struggles from 3-point range, and that's going to be more of a work in progress than you think, that may bump him outside the lottery. I think the intangibles alone should make him a top 45 pick. I think he's going to be better than what like Rocco Zakarski was, although a different position. But Daniels should get drafted fairly high. He will be better than Alex Tui probably. And I'm excited to watch him. Also, shout out Jacob Furphy, the younger brother of Johnny Furphy, who played at Kansas. And I thought could have stayed another year. He got drafted in the 2nd round by the Pacers, who are still very high on him. But he's playing at UConn next year under Dan Hurley, which is going to be a lot of fun. So Dash Daniels, one of the international guys. I guess I'll talk about the other one, and that's Kareem Lopez, who I'm doing like a lot of like a big deep dive on Kareem Lopez. He's not my best prospect, but he's my favorite prospect. And also those numbers that you're seeing with the graphics on the screen, that's just their jersey number. That's not like where I have them ranked at all. But Lopez has the ball handling ability, the size, the creation for somebody at 6'9". Oh my God. He, I think, has the potential to be one of the more unique players in this draft, given the guard-like skills at his size. He has like Wemby type plays where he's just like doing a finger roll over a 6'6" defender guarding him when he's attacking downhill. He is that tall. He's got a 7'5"-ish wingspan right now. The standing reach is going to be incredible. Like I can already tell. If he's like a 1st-round pick next year and a lottery guy, his measurements at the combine are going to wow people so much when he becomes more of like a household name or a casual name. Because right now you kind of have to like know about the draft and know more about these prospects, especially because he's an international guy. But he's got a great story. Grew up in Mexico, northwest part of Mexico, and he did like a piece with Mark Spears last year when he played in a preseason game. And it was cool because like he went to like this restaurant in Philly, which I'm familiar with since I live in Philly. And he's got like a great upbringing too. And his dad was a star like center in Mexico, and he played at a D2 school in Missouri. So he's gotten basketball from a very young age. He got scouted by, hey, you know the pronunciation. Let me know I'm pronouncing it wrong because I am. Like Jovenut. It's a program in Spain, or it's a team in Spain. And they produced like NBA legends, Ricky Rubio was like their main guy. Rudy Fernandez. There's some Lopez, but I forget the first name off the top of my head. But either way, like Kareem Lopez gets scouted by them at like 13 years old, and he plays there from 22 to 24. And I think he started playing there at 14. And then last year he was basically 17, playing for the Breakers in their part of their program that he was going to be in, because he could have played collegiate basketball, but he wasn't going to be able to play till this year. So he got to play professionally last year, and he could have came over to the NCAA. We're seeing that kind of more unfold now with the NIL, but he's going to be, I think, a very big name next year because of the potential he has on both ends of the floor. The form looks really good. The athleticism is there. The rim protection for somebody like that's a wing that has guard-like skills. I'm just so excited to watch him progress in year 2. Like I said, he's not my best prospect, but he's one of my favorite prospects that I'm diving into right now. Definitely keep an eye on Kareem Lopez. And then I guess the other big name that I could have talked about was Cameron Boozer. He's up there right now in the talks with Darren Peterson and Debansa. I have him ranked 2 with Debansa 3. I think there's a lot of variance to Debansa's game. But Boozer, 6'9"-ish right now. He's the big playing at Duke. Shout out John Shire, man. I tweeted out this earlier. But yeah, John Shire basically, I mean, the program he's building them. He's a mastermind recruiter at Duke since he took over the helm there. Like top recruiting classes every year. They have Cameron Boozer. They have Dame Sarr, who I'll get to later on, and Isaiah Evans, who I'll talk about a little bit. But Darren Harris, Caleb Foster's returning. Malik Brown's returning. Sebastian Wilkins, the 25th ranked recruit. I won't talk about Cameron's brother, but Caden Boozer, he may be their point guard. You have Nicholas, who I mentioned earlier. Hamania, maybe. Hamania, the K might be silent. Either way, Duke is going to be stacked next year, and Cameron Boozer is going to be at the forefront of it. He's a projected top pick, younger, or son of NBA legend Carlos Boozer. He's got such a skilled touch around the rim. He's got great ball handling ability for somebody at his size. He's like a perfect modern day power forward or modern day 4 that can stretch the floor, that can handle the rock, that can guard. Like having a power forward or a big that can guard somewhat in the interior, but also being able to like get switched on the perimeter. Like he's going to be able to guard guards and hold up on that end of the floor with his athleticism, quickness at his size. And he's a great athlete. Catch alley-oops, run the floor. I believe in the jumper. And I think Cameron Boozer also, I think, has like the value. And like he may be a wing. He just may be a small forward or a 3 at the NBA level. Either way, I do think he's going to be somebody that's going to go very high in the 2026 draft. And I would bet a lot of money on that because I'm confident he will do so. Another player that I just loved watching at the McDonald's All-American game, Tundday Yafu, who's playing at Baylor this upcoming season under Scott Drew. That's produced a lot of first-round picks like Jacoby Walter, Keontae George, Yves Misi, most recently VJ Edgecombe. And Yafu, I think I'm a little bit more excited about because it's crazy. And I know he models his game after him. He looks exactly like Anthony Edwards out there. He really plays like him. He's got like the armband like him as well. Freak-like athlete. Gets up and down the floor. One of the best defending freshmen going into college basketball next year. And if he becomes like just this true shot creator, playmaker on the perimeter that can handle the ball in his hands, that is not going to have like a loose handle whatsoever, and you could trust, hey, he may be a sleeper in a way that he's like, yeah, like looked at as a first-round pick, an early first-round pick. But he can be talked about as a lottery pick and maybe even a top 10 pick if it goes right for Baylor next year, who Baylor is going to have a decent amount of turnover for their team going into 2026. They've had Rob Wright leave. I talked about him before. He went to BYU, and I think Yafu can maybe get the most touches on the team. We'll see. I don't think they have like their roster out yet. But I know it's going to look a little bit different here in 2026, and I'm excited fully to see what it's going to look like because they have a lot of guys leaving, and I think Yafu could be one of the more exciting guys in the mix in this draft class. Just look up his high school tape. This guy is a freak athlete. Another freak athlete is Koa Pete, who's playing for Team USA in the U19s, and he had a monster game against Australia. He had 17 points, 10 rebounds, 2 steals, a block, shot 54% from the field. Don't know if he's ever going to develop a shot. He's playing under Tommy Lloyd at Arizona. So maybe this is a Carter Bryant 2.0 situation. I hope not. I hope he's a little bit more aggressive, a little bit more involved with the team's half-court offense. But he's got the size at like 6'8". If he grows a little bit as well, he has a very eye-popping wingspan. He could be like a 3, a 4, even a small ball 5 one day because of how physical he is, how dominant he could be downhill or just in the paint, and how skilled he is around the rim. And just like an A-plus athlete. So Koa Pete, definitely somebody that could end up being a top 10 pick in the 2026 class as well. Actually, ESPN had him ranked like 18, which I thought was way too low. I think he's somebody to definitely keep an eye on. And then a couple point guard prospects that I want to talk about. Sakuff, who is my number 2 ranked point guard prospect right now. I'll talk about my first guy after. Sakuff is playing at Arkansas, where we know, right, John Calipari has a great track record of producing first-round NBA talent, and Sakuff is going to be the next guy in the mix. That team is going to be pretty good. Like, Carter Knox is coming back. They've gotten some transfers as well. And last year, I mean, it was very inconsistent in a loaded conference for John Calipari in his first year in Arkansas, but I think they're going to be a phenomenal team this upcoming year. They beat St. John's in the tournament as well. And that's with like DJ Wagner and John L. Davis. Yeah, I was just doing a double take to make sure I got the guy. John L. Davis. But yeah, Darius Sakuff, so crafty with the ball in his hands, a phenomenal ball handler. He's a little bit smaller, like 6'2", so maybe he's going to get the Jeremiah Fears comps if he even grows a little bit. But 6'2" without shoes isn't like the smallest guy in the world. We'll just see how he finishes at the rim, how the turnovers look, how the court vision looks. But I keep an eye on him as like one of the best point guard prospects in this draft. But I do think the best point guard prospect is actually committed to play at Louisville with Pat Kelsey, which just shout out Louisville and shout out Pat Kelsey really turning that program around. Malik Brown Jr., who, like I said, I think is one of the best point guard, or he is the best point guard recruit in this class. And he's 6'4". He was 5'10" at the start of his high school career, up to 6'4" now. He's just a scorer. And also the shot looks so good. The form looks good. The creativity on the perimeter. It was efficient in college, efficient in high school, hoping it's efficient in college. But he's just like your typical modern day point guard that can dribble, pass, shoot, lock in defensively, run the floor, a great athlete, super fast with the ball in his hands in transition as well. And then one of my favorite point guard prospects in this draft class is Bennett Stirtz, who I think would have been a first round pick. Like, Yang Hansen went, 16? I think Bennett Stirtz would have went around that range if he did declare. So he played D2, then he plays at Drake last year under Ben McCollum, who is going to coach Iowa now. So we transferred with him to Iowa, so he's going to be playing on the big stage in the Big Ten, which is becoming a better and better basketball conference now that they've added USC, UCLA, Oregon, and Washington into the mix. Last year for Drake, 19.2 points, 2.1 assists, 2.1 steals, 5.7 assists, 4.3 rebounds, 50, 40, 80 splits, basically. This guy is so efficient with the ball in his hands and such an efficient scorer as well. And he looked really good in their tournament game where they beat Mizzou in the round of 64. His stat line from that game, he had basically 21 points. He shot 72% from the field. He knocked down 3 threes, 3 of 3. He's just smart. He doesn't really turn the ball over a ton. Sometimes he will, but sometimes it's just him reading the play quicker than his teammates will, and his teammates aren't ready for it. He did have 21 points in their loss against Texas Tech, but he was going up against Darren Williams and JT Toppin and a really good Tech squad. And I think Stirtz, like 6'4", he's just so skilled and talented and has like some of maybe the highest basketball IQ in this class. Like, watch Bennett Stirtz this upcoming year. He is going to be so much fun. Just watch his tape at Drake because he came onto the scene. He was a sleeper for me in the midseason mark. I thought he was going to go into the draft. He doesn't. But right now, I think he's a projected first rounder. Doesn't have like an all-star ceiling like in a Cuff or like a Malik Brown Jr. does. But who's this? Like, I'm not going to compare him to Rondo, but I think there could be a little bit of Rondo in his game as well. And then maybe some rapid fire to wrap this off. Tahj Pedford is somebody to keep an eye on. He could have been a first round pick in the 2025 draft after his combine, but he's going back to Auburn, which is going to have a stacked roster next year. He shot 36 from 3, 80 from the free throw line. A little bit of a smaller guard, but can finish at the rim, got a great layup package, can run the floor in transition, and he's going to be part of a really good Auburn team. So he's like somebody that could get drafted. That's going to be a sophomore next year. Caleb Wilson, who's going to be UNC's top recruit coming in, 18 years old, about a 6'9" power forward, plays very well at the rim. Just an incredible athlete with the length, the size, the frame. And I think he could just be a really good two-way player. We'll see how the outside shot looks because that's going to be a major swing skill for him, but doesn't need to go in. But if it looks good, if he has the confidence and NBA scouts and coaching staffs believe they can fix his shot, he's going to be a lottery pick in the draft given what his positional value can be. And we'll see how his like motor looks playing under Hubert Davis throughout the course of this season for the Tar Heels. Chris Sanak is going to be arguably the best big man in this draft. He's going to be up there with like maybe, like it depends what you have Ament as and like Jaden Quintans, but Sanak is a bruiser inside, very skilled around the rim, an elite shot blocker coming in to Kelvin Sampson's Houston Cougars team, which is going to be very good next year, because I also believe they have Isaiah Harwell. That also could be a top pick. Miles Uzan is returning to Houston. JoJo Tugler could be a first-round pick in this class. The Houston Cougars are going to be loaded next year. I should have mentioned it before, but like when I was just kind of raving about John Shire in the recruiting class. I mean, Dame Sarr getting him the top international 5-star recruit. I don't know if they would have got him if they didn't get Cedric Coward. I actually don't know like the timeline of those, but he's so intriguing on the perimeter. Like he's pretty much a wing. He's 6'8" though. That was like an elite defender last year, playing in the EuroLeague and the ACB. He's basically like Kasper Shakachonis, Yegor Demon of this year's class, playing at Barcelona, and then is coming to college basketball and is be playing for a major program as well. Basically leaving that Spanish development system, and that Duke team is just going to be insane. I wonder how it looks playing with also Isaiah Evans, who I was very adamant that I think could have been a first-round pick in the 25 class. The Duke Blue Devils just have so many wings up this upcoming season, because you have Nicholas, you have, we'll see what Boozer's position is, Sebastian Wilkins, Isaiah Evans, Darren Harris, Malik Brown's more of a big, Isaiah Evans. They just have a lot of guys that are going to hopefully be 2026 draft picks. I wonder how Shire is able to handle all kind of those guys' goals. But Isaiah Evans is one of the best movement shooters in this draft. His freshman year reminded me a little bit of Jared McCain's, but definitely less volume given the talent of last year's Duke team that had 4 first-round picks and 2 second-rounders. I briefly mentioned him before. Second to last guy, you have Jaden Quintans, who played at Arizona State last year. He kind of got a waiver to play college basketball at 17. Massive human being, 6'9", 230-ish. But he had to play 2 years of college basketball. I guess to no surprise, he leaves Arizona State in the transfer portal, but he did tear his ACL, so he's coming off an ACL tear. He's going to Kentucky to play under Mark Pope, but he averaged about 9.5 points, 8 rebounds, 2.5 blocks, like an elite shot blocker, an elite presence inside. And for a big man class that's like kind of weak, we talked about Chris Sinak is like the only true center. Like Caleb Wilson's kind of a 4, Cameron Boozer's kind of a 4. Yeah, these guys can play the small ball 5, but Quintans has a chance to be the best like center in this class, given how he looks this year in Kentucky. And then I think you have one of the more interesting prospects as well, Nate Ament, who's like kind of the consensus number 4 after Peterson, Boozer, and Debansa. He was a late bloomer with his size, so he's up to 6'11", but the way he played in high school was kind of like a wing. So I wouldn't even say he's like a big yet, but if this guy can become stronger, if he can become better of a ball handler, dribbling it up the floor and can handle the point of attack, and he's a solid shooter because he was a shot making like wing in high school, and I think the passing got a lot better throughout the end of the high school tape as well. And he's gonna be like Rick Barnes's, I guess, Kevin Durant 2.0. That's what he compared himself to, like going to Rick Barnes, who helped develop Kevin Durant at Texas, but hasn't really had the best track record since, or at least like not elite as some of these other coaches in college basketball. But if he could just be an efficient scorer at all 3 levels, in the paint, mid-range, and the outside shot at 6'11", with the ball handling potential he has, yeah, this could be a potential top 3 pick. And I think if there's one person that could go like ahead of AJ Debansa, because hey, he has the big time shot making, he has the length and the wingspan to shoot it over any defender, which Debansa like has his value in. He could go ahead of AJ. So we'll see. It's going to be very interesting to see kind of what ends up falling out throughout the top 5 throughout this process and throughout the course of the college regular season and in March Madness and all that. So yeah, I hope you guys did enjoy this episode of the Just Ballin' podcast. It was really fun to talk about this upcoming draft class, and I think it's so interesting as well just to see what can happen over the next 12 months, and always looking back on these a year later and talking about, hey, Nate Ament may have a terrible year, right? And he's a sophomore or he transfers. You never know about these prospects. Could have also talked about Yaxel Lendenberg, who could have been a first-round pick. He's going to be playing at Michigan this upcoming year. Sergio De Laria, we'll see how he plays at Valencia in Spain. He could have been a second-rounder, but he didn't go into the draft. You have Braylon Mullins at UConn with Jacob Furphy. You have LeBaron Philon, who's going back to Alabama. I mentioned JoJo Tugler. You have Ade Mara, who's playing at Michigan. You have Alex Condon at Florida, Braden Smith at Purdue, Boogie Fland at Florida, Carter Knox, Morris Johnson, JT Toppin, Dalen Swain. There's a lot of talent for the 2026 class. Let me know if there's a name that I didn't mention down below in the YouTube comments. And if you're listening on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, really appreciate a rating or review. And I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.